Katarina Wallentin es un CF en Access Consciousness y también es la coautora de este hermoso libro, El Manifiesto del Bebé Dragón. Y El Manifiesto del Bebé Unicornio, son dos libros. Y hoy día vamos a hablar sobre este libro, El Manifiesto del Bebé Dragón. Bienvenida, Katarina. Gracias por estar aquí. Estamos aquí con Claudia Sánchez de Argentina y María Fernanda Torres de Colombia. Bueno, ¿por qué no les cuento un poco sobre cómo inició toda esta idea del libro? En primer lugar, vamos con el libro del bebé unicornio. Y eso vino de una amiga nuestra. Una amiga nuestra tuvo su primer bebé y Dane le escribió un mensaje tan hermoso por un mensaje de texto después de que su primer bebé nació y cómo esta energía de cada niño, como cada niño que recién nace trae esta energía y como un niño recién nacido traen el mejor regalo, son el mejor regalo y tienen la mejor energía para este mundo. Y también qué tal que este nuevo ser que viene en la vida de los papás, que viene en la vida de los papás, también puede transformar la vida de esos papás. Y cuando nosotros publicamos este libro, lo leímos en muchos lugares, online, en clases, en colegios, y tuvimos un montón de feedback de muchas personas que les encantó el libro. Y también aún había esta energía que no todo el mundo, que no todo el mundo creía en estos bebés unicornios. Algunas personas aún creían que ellos realmente no eran unicornios. Algunas personas creían que sus hijos realmente no tenían esta energía de los bebés unicornios, sino más bien de los bebés dragones. Y bueno, en esta energía de los unicornios que todos tenemos, como esta debilidad, esta esperanza, esta alegría, este gozo, y luego también está la energía de los dragones en nosotros. Y es tan importante como la energía de los unicornios y es tan vital para el mundo. Y ese libro realmente surgió de esa conciencia de vamos a abrazar, a integrar, a reconocer el dragón que todos tenemos dentro. La energía que enciende las cosas, la energía de la que realmente surge la creación para crear algo totalmente nuevo. Y tú también tienes esa energía para encenderlo todo. Y esa es parte de nuestro trabajo y esa es parte del trabajo de los niños. De esos niños que muchas veces se paran adelante y dicen, hey, no, esto no funciona para mí, yo quiero algo totalmente diferente. Esa también es la energía de los dragones. Muchas veces esto no surge como, digamos, que queremos, como lo pensamos y está bien. Muchas veces nosotros a veces decimos algo que puede encender las cosas en un ambiente y está bien, es parte del camino de ser un dragón. Que caerte, levantarte, así como un bebé dragón está aprendiendo a moderar su fuego y a veces incendia las cosas y a veces ese fuego ilumina, está bien, lo mismo nos pasa a nosotros y todo este libro viene de esta energía y traemos la energía de estos tres dragones, que si es que han leído el libro habla de tres dragones con tres energías diferentes. Y bueno, no es un camino recto y no, nosotros somos constantemente la energía de esos tres dragones en nuestra vida. Y cada día tenemos que estar conscientes de, ok, ¿cuál de esas voces de los tres dragones vamos a estar escuchando en cada momento? Paró la grabación en la sala de inglés. No sé si quieren volver a grabar. Vamos a esperar un ratito. Ya está, listo.
I
Ya
don't know what
está.
happened. I don't know where is the first part, but it's okay. We're going to find it. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that, Katarina.
Gracias,
Actually,
thank you. Y recomendarnos cuando veo, ese fue un caso mío en algún momento, cuando queremos de alguna forma que nuestros hijos sean como la norma, como funcionan todos los demás. ¿Translate?
Hello. Yes, sorry, I didn't catch that. I had to translate back, but now I'm on. Katarina, we wanted to know what can you tell us when we as parents recognize that our child doesn't work or doesn't behave like any other child? What advice can you give us?
Well, I would say most children don't act like other children. So every single child is unique. So every single child, we keep comparing them, which is a form of judgment, right? And we think our child is not behaving like other children. And then we want to fit in, we want to be normal, and then we want our kids to be normal, which is like a double judgment, right? We're judging ourselves for not having created a normal kid, and then we're judging the kid for not being normal. So what if first we were willing to go, every single child and every single adult are not the same as anyone else. So first that, like, what would it take to have allowance for the brilliant uniqueness of everyone around us, big and small, like big and small kids? And then I would say for kids, you know, there are in Access Consciousness, which is the modality these books are based on, there are 5 elements of intimacy. And those elements are allowance, trust, vulnerability, gratitude, and honor. And my suggestion is that if you have a kid who is a dragon, right? Those 5 elements are going to get you way further than anything else. But remember, allowance doesn't mean you're a doormat. And allowance doesn't mean that you're I can mute. Maybe somebody can mute. Thank you. Because allowance doesn't mean we're a doormat. So it doesn't mean that we let our kids walk all over us. That isn't honoring either. So that's the cool part about using the 5 elements of intimacy, is that they really come from honoring, trust, vulnerability, gratitude, and allowance with you, with your child, with everything that goes on. So you have to continuously be in the question, what will create most right now? And sometimes that is saying, hey, you set this on fire, help me clean up, you know? And sometimes it is, wow, that was such a cool fire. It depends on every situation. Like that, having a dragon child is like having a trainer in consciousness continuously that will show you, you know, who you are, who the child is, and what is possible beyond what you decided is normal.
Thank you. Thank you, Katarina. And that's what you said is very interesting, because when we were a child, when we were kids, we grow up sometimes being afraid of our fires, our ability to set things on fire. So actually, when I first read the book, it was amazing for me to recognize that all the time I had a choice. I had the possibility of choose what voice or what kind of dragon I can be. So can you talk more about the recognition of that choice and the options that we have and the options that we can give to our kids or to our partners or dragon people around us?
I think it's such a great question, because the choice is really the key. So I grew up in a family where nobody ever got angry. Or actually, they got angry, but they didn't show it. It's a lot of suppressed anger in my family. And it like showed up more as people getting sour, not talking to each other. And which meant that what I learned was also to push. Anger was wrong. Like I was wrong if I got angry. So I had to push it down. And it created this dissonance with who I was, because sometimes I got angry and then I'm not able to show, and you push it down and then it comes out at the wrong time. Like it comes out at the time when maybe there isn't any reason to get angry, but you push so much anger down that you explode, you know, just because somebody gives you the wrong kind of ice cream instead of the actual moment when it would create more. So I think one of the things with this book is that because there are 3 different voices, and those 3 different voices is the voices that the dragon hears, the intention, even though I don't know if we thought that when we wrote it, but the point is that you do have a choice. And the key, I think, is if you don't have a choice, then you're stuck. But if you have a choice, you could try all 3. Like you could try setting fire to the glade, which is what happens sometimes. Or you could trying your wings and fly and explore the world. Or you could try just, you know, rolling to a little ball and cry. Like whatever you do, none of it is wrong, because every choice creates awareness. It allows you to find out more about you. But when you cut off a choice, like if you cut off the dragon energy, if you're not allowed to get angry as an adult or as a child, you're going to have to like shut that energy away. You're going to have to push it down. And it actually creates basically a limitation of everything you can receive and everything you can be. Now, the cool part is if you have access to that choice, if you allow yourself to get really angry, you don't have to be angry. You don't even have to, you just have it as a choice. It's an energy that's available in your world, which gives you a bigger, it's like you don't have to cut that part of yourself off because you can never get angry, right? You see, like that's not a cool way of functioning. And this whole part here I can't get to because I'm not allowed to get angry. But if you open up and you're allowed to be every energy, you still don't have to go here. You can still be here, but this is all available. So I think this is one of the things where, because we decide something is wrong and bad, we can't find out what it's really about. And a lot of time anger is about that somebody's lying to you. It's actually your potency that you're pushing down, your potency to change the world. So with those 2, like, because you're avoiding it, you can never find that out. So for me, I would say that again, the choice, if you're willing to give your little dragons in your life like a choice, like really look at it. Okay, so what would create the most here? Does it create more for you to get really angry? And don't have a point of view that that's like the wrong answer, because then you're actually trying to control them again. But really have that willingness for them to get really angry. Often it's so short. If you allow somebody to get really angry when they need to, it blows over. So I don't know if that answered your question.
Absolutely. And it's not only about to be angry, but to be
Potent.
aware of, to be aware of our potency and about the limits, because sometimes we force our kids or we force ourselves to be kind, but we are kind with with other people and we forget to be kind with us. So how to remember to be that space of reminder of for our kids and for us to be so aware that we can put limits with kindness. Do you can tell us about that?
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because I don't know if it's actually limits with kindness. So there are 2 different. I remember asking Gary what the difference. Gary's the founder of Access Consciousness, and I once asked him, "What's the difference between being nice and being kind?" And we often try to teach our kids to be nice. And being nice means that you don't rock the boat. You make sure, like, you don't say anything that can upset people. And you're just like making sure they feel good all the time. And often that's what we learn as children. Like, we learn to be nice. Being kind is something very different. Being kind is being willing to be aware of what somebody requires in delivering that. And that can be being somebody who takes care of somebody with total kindness and allowance, or it can be being a dragon, right? Because that's what they require. So kindness is something that really has to do what you're talking about, the awareness of what's required in every situation to create more. And that is like your choice is then based in the awareness. Your choice is based in reading the situation. And as a kid, we often actually read situations instantly. We do know what's going on. It's only if we're trying to cut off our awareness to be nice, for example, then we don't really know what's going on. So what if you trained your kids to be aware what's really required here? What will create the most in this situation? And sometimes it is being nice. Like if you're in a, I don't know, if you're visiting the queen, it may be good not to, be a dragon at that particular moment. Maybe then your best choice is to use the kind niceness that you've learned. But if you're in a situation where somebody's being bullied, right? Maybe it's not your best choice to make everybody just, it's all going to be good. It's going to be good. Maybe your best choice in that situation is that this is not okay. This is not okay that this is going on right now. Like it all depends, right, on the situation. But the point is you don't really need to limit your kindness. You need to be aware of what's required. And you need, like you say, to include you in that kindness. Are you kind to you? And that really goes, if you're being nice, it's all going to be about other people. But if you're being kind, that actually includes you, because you're going to look at what's required in this situation to create more. And that, I think, is like it's that thing with the things on the airplanes, if the things fall down to give you oxygen, you have to give yourself oxygen first, and that comes for kids too. So I think everywhere you're trying to teach your kids to be nice without allowing them to get the sense of what it means to be kind and the potency of kindness, that's where we kind of, screw them in the foot. I don't know what to say in English, where we make them stumble, because we teach them to kind of like live in this little area where they're not getting angry and they're all nice to everyone, and that's the only thing that's good and that's the perfect thing, instead of exploring their potency of actually reading energies, being aware of what's going on, and knowing what's required in that moment. And
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. And I just have to say, so I'm a mother. I have a grown-up daughter. She's 22 now. And being a parent is a journey. And you're going to learn, if you're a parent or a teacher or work with kids in any way, everywhere you're trying to be perfect is going to be a failure. So this is like really, we aim towards this, and then how to get there is continuously choosing. Sometimes it's going brilliantly, and then other times they will choose something. They have their own journey that you don't get. You don't get why they're choosing this right now. You don't know why they're choosing something that seems destructive or seems like it's something that they shouldn't be choosing. But they have their own journey, and that's where the allowance comes in, and also where you're actually continuously learning from them, because all the kids are different. So I don't think there are any answers for how you raise dragons. You have to be in the question when you're raising dragons. Like really continuously ask, what would create here? What would this be like if I was in allowance here? What would be honoring for me and my child here? Like what if I lowered my barriers, if I was totally vulnerable right now, what would that create? I remember when Millie was around 6, she was being in a very dragony phase. And I finally started to ask her, hey, Millie, this doesn't work for me. What could work for both of us? It's one of the best questions. She still remembers this at 22, where we would have a conversation. What will work for both of us? So it may not work for all kids, but it worked for her and me. So finding those ways that you can actually explore together with your kids could also be a way forward with dragons.
Thank you so much. And it applies absolutely with ourselves too. The allowance, the being question, and the 5 elements of intimacy. So thank you so much for that. Maybe someone have a question there.
Sí, acá hay una pregunta de Diana en el chat español. ¿Qué se puede hacer con un niño que todo el tiempo pelea en el colegio y está reportado por violencia?
There is a question here in the Spanish chat. What could you do with a kid that every time he behaves so bad that he gets reported at school?
So have you asked the kid what he likes to create? What is he creating?
Sí, un ratito, está pidiendo
Adriana?
que le repita.
So basically, if we just talk in general, then I would say that it's very hard, what do you do with a kid like that? Well, it depends on the kid again. Like going back to every kid is unique. Every kid functions in a different way. So that's what I mean by what is he or she trying to create? And have you asked them, what are they creating? What are they aware of? What's happening? Like what's actually going on for them? Is it fun for them to get in trouble? Are they trying not to be in school? Is there something going on that they're avoiding? Like there's could be so many different things. So instead of going, this kid is bad, what's actually going on? Like what is it? And it could be that the kid is trying its dragon fire, like we're literally practicing saying no, being a dragon. Or it could be that something else is going on, but having a conversation, asking them questions, seeing what you can get from that would be at least the first place to start. And it depends how old they are, of course, and what the situation is.
She said that thank you so much, and that she hasn't done that question to him, and that he will do it. She will do it. So thanks so much.
Yeah, I think that Dane often says that kids are really, they're beings in small bodies, right? They're not, we think of them as kids, and yes, their brain isn't developed, like it takes until they're 24 until their brain is developed, but still there's a being in there and there's something going on. And having those conversations that seems uncomfortable, right? That seems a little weird. You don't really know what to say. You don't really know if you want to hear the answer. For me, that's kindness, having the uncomfortable conversations, because you're showing them that you're willing to have those conversations. You're showing them that they're important, that what their point of view is. And even if they just give you dumb answers like, no, Pete was stupid and that's why I had to hit him, you're starting something. You're starting, and you can get a lot of awareness just from the energies of the answers. So if you're willing to at least, try that. See what you become aware of by having a conversation, by asking what he or she is trying to create with that.
Thank you. Is there another question? Sorry.
Well, I just want to add something that came up when we're talking about this. So most of you know about this, who does this belong to tool, right? And kids they haven't learned to shut, like they're acutely aware of everyone else and all the people around them, right, at school. And it's different levels, different kids have different awareness levels, but it means that a lot of times they may be doing things that it's in somebody else's head, or they're reading energies that are not theirs at all. So also starting to just kind of asking them a little bit of what they're aware of with the other kids around and what's going on energetically with the group and at the school can start getting them aware about that not all of what they think is in here is theirs. Because so much of what's in there is not theirs. And I mean, we're all aware of people around us, but we're used to it more than you are as a kid. And as a kid, when you start school, there's a lot of kids that have a lot of thoughts and a lot of judgments, projections, expectations that are going in there. So maybe also look a little bit at that and see how aware is your kid and how aware is your kid around about all the other kids in the group, in the class.
Thank you so much for this, Katarina. Thank you for this call. If there's no another question,
Somebody
sorry.
else. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I just would say, so if you have teenagers, the Dragon book is a great book to actually, you can put it on your sofa table and then they kind of like pick it up and they read it. It's beautifully illustrated by an illustrator from Argentina.
Yeah.
She's absolutely amazing. I love her illustrations. We used her for all the books and she just has this such a like a sense of combining, like not making things too cute, beautiful, but with like a lot of essence in it. So I would really recommend reading the books, look like taking the energy of the pictures and allowing yourself maybe to let it speak to your teenager and your 2-year-old that you have in you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's really
Gracias.
great. Adriana?
Yes. Here in the Spanish room, there's a question that this girl has, like, she's an X-Men and she perceives entities, and she's asking, she's starting to recognize like her potency and power and her dragon inside, but she's so afraid of. So what tools she could use to stop being afraid of that fire?
So is she afraid or is she excited?
Yes, thank you. She says it's exciting.
Well, it's such a great question because we've been often when it comes to this particular, like our potency, we've been taught that what we're perceiving, that like, ooh, that's fear. But fear has the exact same physical reaction in the body as excitement. And very often we're actually excited to step into our potency. And so if you could just recognize that, like all of you, if you could recognize that how often when you think you're afraid, you're actually excited and just have that as a starting point. So how excited am I to do this thing that I've never done before, to put my foot down, to change everything? How excited am I to do that? And then you use that energy to take the first step. You know, you just need to take a first step. And then you see how that goes. That's your first choice. You get more awareness. Then you take the next step. Maybe you get even more excited because it's a bigger step now. And everywhere you're thinking that is fear, let that go and then move forward. Okay, so is this fear or excitement? And as long as it's excitement, you keep going, you keep taking one more step and you keep, seeing what shows up in your life.
Well, we already borrowed extra minutes for you. So thank you for this call, for this talk. And girls, Fernanda, Claudia, are you there? So we can say goodbye.
Muchísimas gracias por invitarnos esta semana
Thanks so much for inviting us this week
a
Thank you,
explorar ese
please.
dragoncito que tenemos todos.
to explore this baby dragon we all have inside.
Thank you everyone for having me. And, as you can tell, it's like the conversation can go like, there's so
Yeah.
much here. So thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. And we can invite everybody to your next creations. I saw that you have a new podcast about the intimacy that we were talking at the beginning of the call. Tell us where we can find you.
You can find about all my classes and different creations on katarinavallentin.com, and that's my website. And I actually do have, we're going to post a class in Mexico City in October that's called Art of Touch. And in the Art of Touch class, we look a lot at intimacy, about touch, and how to really allow yourself to be in allowance and be touched by everything in your life, by other people, by your kids. So it's a one-day class. So maybe that could be something for some of you that you want to join. But you'll find all the different things that I do on my website. So katarinavallentin.com. And all the books are on there too.
Thank you so much. See you
Thank you,
soon,
Katarina.
Fernanda.
Thank you for this amazing conversation.
Thank you, everyone. Okay.
Gracias.
See you later. Bye. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. We will have the recording on the YouTube channel of Expandiendo Latinoamérica. See you soon.
Gracias a todos, como siempre. Nos
Adriana,
estamos
gracias por la traducción, muy amable.